Hi, I'm Amy Romeo of Amy Romeo Crafts, and today in this video I'll be showing you how to make these really pretty pet paw ornaments for your Christmas tree using faux leather, heat transfer vinyl, and a Cricut. If you're ready to learn how to make this project, let's go ahead and dive right in. The SVG file for this project is available in my shop. It's part of my holiday faux leather crafting event where I'm sharing a brand new holiday SVG and video tutorial every day for 20 days. I'll leave a link on the screen for you so you can get the SVG, or you can visit amyromeo.com/holiday to see all of the event's designs. Let's go over the tools and materials we'll be using to make this project. I'll be using the Cricut Maker today with my standard fine point blade. If you have either of the Explore machines or either of the Joy machines, you can use those to cut faux leather as well because they all come with the same standard fine point blade. So this project has two layers. The bottom is faux leather and the top is heat transfer vinyl. You could also make this project with cardstock on the bottom and create a gift tag, or you could also use permanent vinyl instead of heat transfer vinyl if you chose. The faux leather that I'm using, this one comes on a roll. I'll leave links to all of these materials for you. Faux leather also comes in sheets. You could use solids or you could use prints and patterns. It's totally up to you. The heat transfer vinyl that I'm using, just using a solid white. And then for the ornament I'm going to show you that has a little angel halo, I'll be using some glitter gold heat transfer vinyl. To cut the faux leather, I'll be using the purple strong grip cutting mat. And to cut the vinyl, I'll be using the green standard grip cutting mat. If you're using either of the Joy machines, you can use the green Joy size mats to cut the faux leather for this project. Some other tools we need, I'll be heat pressing my heat transfer vinyl using the Easy Press Mini on the low setting. That's that first line. You could also use a regular Easy Press. I'm using a heat pressing pad to protect my surface, and then a cover sheet. This is a Teflon sheet that I've trimmed down to size, but you could also use butcher paper or parchment paper. You'll need some blue painter's tape to help tape down the faux leather, a weeding tool of some kind. You could use a pin pen or a hook tool, then some craft scissors, and I also like to have some curved detail scissors on hand. You could also use embroidery scissors, and that's great for trimming up the edges of faux leather if necessary. We'll also use some glue to glue our ornament together. I'm using Fabri-Tac, but you could use any good craft glue or fabric glue. And I have a trick I'd like to show you for how to get a really nice seal when you glue the front and back of the ornament together. Finally, we'll add some ribbon. This is just ribbon from the craft store. You could use 1/8 inch thick or 3/8 inch thick. It's totally up to you. So let's hop into Design Space and I'll show you a couple different ways you can make these ornaments to customize them for your family and your pet. So starting with a blank canvas in Cricut Design Space, you'll click on Upload and then Upload Image, and you'll browse to where the unzipped SVG files are for this project. There are 3 different files, each with 2 ornament designs, so you can bring them in all at once or one at a time. It's totally your choice. So here are the 2 angel ornaments, and you can see the preview there. I'll click on Upload, and that will bring them into my canvas. And here, I'll go ahead and select that one. This one here has snowflakes, and the phrase is Meowie Christmas and Happy Holidays. And these 2, one has snowflakes and one is completely plain. So all 6 of these are going to be cut and assembled the exact same way, but I did want to show you how to add text to one of the angel ornaments. So I'll click on that one to select it, and then click Add to Canvas. And I want to ungroup so I can delete the one that I'm not going to use for this demonstration. And now we're left with this one. So you can see the light blue layer, which I will cut from light blue faux leather, but again, you can choose any faux leather you'd like. It would be great with a Christmas plaid or any other kind of pattern. There's a front and a back that will cut from faux leather. The white layer will cut from the regular white heat transfer vinyl, and this gold halo will cut from glitter gold heat transfer vinyl. So I've left this space open for you for a name. You could also write your own text and put it on the back if you'd like. But to create my name inside the little paw here, I'll click on the text box, and I'm going to type my pet's name. And then I want to change the font, so I'm going to select it and then click on the font selector. If you have Cricut Access, you have so many files that you can choose from here. I have several fonts that I've downloaded to my system, so I'm going to use one of those. And the one that I'm going to use is called Pacifico. It's a script that's very thick and it's easy to cut and weed. So I really like that script font when I'm cutting from vinyl. let me click on it to select it. If you need help knowing how to download a font to your device so that it shows them in Cricut Design Space, I'll leave some resources for you and some links that will be helpful. So here's my name. I'm going to drag it, just drag it a little smaller. If you have a longer name, then your letters will be smaller in your little paw print here. I'll drag it into position. I want to change it to the color white. You could also leave it a different color if you wanted to cut it from an accent color, but I'm going to cut all of these pieces from white. That looks good. And the next thing I want to do is click on my name, and I want to click on that white outline layer, and I want to combine them together. I want to weld them so they cut together and they'll be easy to press together. So now that I've welded, you can see the weld result here, and that's going to cut all of those white elements together. We have our 2 faux leather layers and our 1 glitter vinyl layer. So our design is ready to cut. So let's click Make It. I'm cutting my materials on a mat, and we can see our 3 different mats in Design Space in the preview. So the first thing I want to do is click on Mirror for each one, and that's because heat transfer vinyl and faux leather cut in reverse. If you happen to be making this project using permanent vinyl instead of heat transfer vinyl, then you don't need to mirror the vinyl mats. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of drag my shapes apart from the edges of the mat and away from each other. That's because I'll be using that blue painter's tape around the edges of my faux leather here, and I want to have a little space for that. Then we'll click here, we'll do the same thing, just drag all of our mats a little bit away from the edge. And I want to click back on that faux leather mat because that's the one I will cut first. So I'll click Continue. And the material setting I'll be using is called Faux Leather Paper Thin. If you don't have it bookmarked as a favorite like I do, you can click Browse All Materials and search for it. Keep in mind, if you're using the Explorer Air 2, you'll need to turn your dial to Custom before you can find this setting. So I'll click on Faux Leather Paper Thin, and I always want to use more pressure when cutting faux leather. And here's our reminder that we're just using the regular fine point blade that's already included with your machine. When you come back to Design Space to cut your vinyl layers, you'll cut them using your manufacturer's recommended cut settings for your particular material. So I'll use the vinyl setting for this mat, and I will use the glitter vinyl setting for this mat. All right, let's hop back over to my overhead camera. We'll get our mats cut out and our ornament assembled. So I've already trimmed my faux leather down to size, and I'm just going to place it pretty side down on my purple strong grip cutting mat. Press it down well with your hands all over, and then I'm going to use some blue painter's tape just to tape down all the edges. And these 2 things, having a smaller piece of faux leather and then taping it down with blue painter's tape, is really going to help our material stick to the mat better, and it's going to result in better cuts. I like to reuse this blue painter's tape. I can use it 4 or 5 times. After I cut my mat, I'll remove my blue painter's tape and save it for next time. So my material setting of faux leather paper thin with more pressure is ready to go. So we'll load the mat and begin the cut. So our cut is complete, but we don't want to unload the mat yet. We first want to check the cut to make sure it went all the way through. So I just use a sharp weeding tool to gently lift up the edge of the faux leather. If the cut went all the way through, that's great. If not, you can repeat the cut easily by pressing the cut button again. On the Cricut Joy, your option to rerun the cut will be on your screen in Design Space. This looks good though, so I'm going to go ahead and unload the mat. And we'll remove our ornament shapes. So there's a front and a back, along with that pre-cut hole for the ribbon. So we have our front and back ornament shapes, and these 2 will be glued together after we press our heat transfer vinyl onto the front. So now I'm going to return to Design Space. I'm going to cut out my 2 vinyl mats. I'm going to weed away all the excess vinyl, and then I'll show you how we press the vinyl and assemble our ornament. So I have my layers all cut and weeded, ready to go. I have my faux leather ornament front, and I'll leave the back to the side for now. And then I have my heat transfer vinyl layer in white and that little gold halo layer. I have my Easy Press Mini preheated to the low setting. If you're using a regular easy press, I would set it to 265 degrees. So all we're going to do is layer our white layer first on top of the faux leather layer. You kind of want to get it centered so that you have a nice even border of the bottom layer around all sides. That looks pretty good. Now we're going to cover. I'm going to cover with my Teflon sheet, but again, you could use butcher paper or parchment paper. And we want to press for about 10 seconds all over. So if you're using a regular easy press, it's very easy just to place it down. I'm going to use my mini, so it'll take me a little bit to press and move around. Then we'll peel off our vinyl and we'll apply the next layer. So it's time to peel back the clear cover sheet. You want to peel slowly so that if any of your vinyl lifts up, you can place that cover sheet right back down and press for a few more seconds. Also try and keep your faux leather flat. That'll keep wrinkles out of your vinyl. That looks pretty good. So now we'll just line up our little halo. Again, you want to cover with your cover sheet and press for about 10 seconds. And there we go. So our faux leather is warm and I want it to cool nice and flat. So I'm just going to place it on my surface and then place my heat pressing pad on top for just a minute to let it cool nice and flat while I get my materials ready to glue. So my ornament has cooled nice and flat and I'm going to glue the front faux leather piece to the back. And I told you I had a trick for making sure that our glued ornament was nice and flat after it dried. And I'm going to put that under a heavy book after I glue. And you'll see at the end, we get a really nice seamless edge once we've glued. So I'm just using that Fabri-Tac. I'm going to place it all over the back of the ornament. You want to get it close to the edge, but not all the way to the edge, because some of the glue will naturally seep to the edge when we press our ornament under the book. There we go. And now I'm just going to place my top layer onto the bottom. And you want to make sure that your edges line up nicely. So when your ornament is dry, you won't see the bottom layer when you're looking at the top layer. And that looks pretty good. So all I'm going to do is place this underneath my heavy book. I'll let it dry for about an hour. While it's drying, I'm going to go ahead and cut another ornament so that you can see a different one. I'll cut the one that says Meowie Christmas for our cat loving friends, the one with the snowflakes, and I'll use some red and white for that one. So our ornament has had some time to dry and I've had the opportunity to make two more that I'll show you in just a second, but I wanted to show you how great you can get a really nice tight seam all around the edge of your faux leather pieces and your ornament is nice and flat and stiff because it's been underneath that heavy book. I just think that really adds a nice finish. So this is the Roxy one with the angel wings. Again, you can customize this with your text, or you could even put dates in here. You could do whatever you wanted. And then I also made the Meowie Christmas for my cat friends and Happy Holidays. Remember, there are 6 designs that I'm giving you to play with, so you can really personalize these and make these your own. One way I wanted to show you, you can finish off that white edge of the faux leather if you don't like how that looks, is you can use a color coordinated Sharpie. And you can just kind of put it sideways and rub on the edges of that material. And that's going to really give you a nice finished edge. If you are going to do this, I recommend not doing it up in the air like I am. I put these down on 2 pieces of scrap paper and then I just color the edge nice and flat on the scrap paper so I don't accidentally move my pen and color the front of my faux leather. So there we go. And then I've cut just a few pieces of ribbon so I can tie these up. So I want to show you quickly how you can tie a ribbon on top. You could do a bow. There's all kinds of ways you could do these, but I'm just going to thread a 12-inch piece of ribbon. This is 3/8 inch ribbon, and just kind of level up the tops up here and quickly tie an easy little knot. You can use your scissors to neaten up the edges up here at the top And that's a really easy little ornament. And there you have it. Our little paw print ornaments are complete. I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you want to see all of the fun and festive faux leather crafts I created for my holiday crafting event, I'll leave a link to a playlist for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.